Hello and welcome to another episode of Trust Check with me, Hajara Hussaini. Trust Check is a weekly reminder to always verify any information you're not comfortable with before sharing in order to reduce the spread of fake news in society. That is why every week on the show we bring you verdicts on viral claims made on and off the social media space. So always remember to check if any information you receive is verifiable or comes from a credible source to avoid becoming a fake news merchant. Let's take a quick break. Welcome back. Today we take on claims made in the past week that seem misleading. The first is an assertion made by President Muhammadu Buhari in the United States during the US-Africa Summit. According to a statement by the Senior Special Assistant, Media and Publicity to the President, Malam Garba Shehu, the statement quoted Buhari as noting the vast nature of the country, adding, "We are big in size and population, facing many challenges, but in many areas we are trying. In 7.5 years, I have done my best." According to him, the problems affecting youth are the priority of the government as they are the country's promise for a better future. The president also noted the need to raise generations of youths devoid of religious extremism and bigotry. Well, TrustCheck carried out research and the result shows that statistics and reports from verifiable bodies, both national and international, indicate that the indices on youth development and empowerment under the Buhari administration are quite low. Although the President Muhammadu Buhari-led federal government has introduced youth-targeted empowerment programs such as the N-Power, Presidential Youth Empowerment Scheme, PES, Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, GEEP, among a few others. The programs have not yielded the desired result on the targeted group and national economy. Statistics from reputable institutions have shown that the youth empowerment programs have had little impact on the country's youths. It also indicated that youth in the country are not meaningfully engaged to be productive in different fields. Let's take a look at the recent NBS statistics on labor force. According to the latest labor force report of the National Bureau of Statistics, unemployment among young Nigerians between the ages of 15 and 34 years is the highest in the country, with over 21 million or 42.5% of the 29.94 young Nigerians unemployed. A breakdown of Nigeria's unemployment rate showed that as of the last quarter of 2015, when Buhari took over power, unemployment rate stood at 10.4%. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the figure went up to 14.2% at the end of 2016, and the latest figures from the NBS indicate that the unemployment rate now stands at 33.3%. The report notes that most unemployed people in Nigeria are youths, which shows a big gap in the unemployment space facing Nigerian youths. The challenge that has worsened the unemployment rate in the last 7 years, as observed by TrustCheck, is the inability of the government to create enabling environment for the private sectors to create jobs. Most businesses and companies, especially in the production and manufacturing sectors, are stifled by the inadequate power supply and multiple taxations, among others. Similarly, last year in a report, World Bank revealed that about 50% of Nigerians are willing to leave the country for a better economic future abroad. The figure represents an increase of nearly 20% since 2014. The report says Nigeria ranked third highest in West Africa, behind Liberia with 70% and Sierra Leone with 60% of respondents who would move permanently to another country. The World Bank noted that young Nigerians were increasingly opting for irregular migration routes to realize their hopes for a better life. Another thing is the Japa syndrome, which is becoming popular and has now become the story of many young citizens leaving Nigeria today in search of greener pastures. The word Japa is derived from the Yoruba language, which means to run quickly, to avoid, to terminate, or to escape from a difficult or uncomfortable situation or circumstance, which has now become the tale of Nigerian youth about their country. Subsequently, according to a report by the Africa Polling Institute in 2021, 7 out of 10 young Nigerians are willing to relocate to other countries for various reasons, with a good number of them recording success. According to the report, what is alarming is that present groups of Nigerians leaving the country are professionals seeking for better career opportunities. It is safe to say that migration is a normal and constant thing, as people will always move from one place to another to seek greener pastures. The report also notes that bad leadership, socio-economic issues, inflation, lack of opportunities, and insecurity are the main reason why people are leaving the country. Relying on data from credible institutions and the current situation in the country, TrustCheck concludes that indices relating to Nigeria's youth development and empowerment are quite low. As such, the claim by President Buhari is largely false. Moving on to the next claim is a message circulating on WhatsApp which suggests that INEC officials are insisting on people's thumb printing before they are issued their permanent voters card, PVC. The message in circulation reads, "Announcement, announcement, announcement. Please, when you're collecting your PVC card, don't thumb print. If INEC officials ask you to thumb print, kindly refuse. This information is critical. Please share this message. Thank you." However, the author of the message did not say whether it was a personal experience or show any evidence to back up the claim. In verifying the claim, TrustCheck visited INEC official website to check for any possible updates but found no such information. Speaking to the National Commissioner and Chairman for Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, he noted that they are purveyors of fake news as there was no such development from the Commission. However, only those registered in the just concluded registrations are eligible to collect a PVC, and all the person needs to do is visit the INEC LGA office they registered or transferred to and present the printout given to them at the point of registration containing all necessary information of the intending voter. As we all know, the PVC is like a meal ticket. Without it, there is no voting. Based on available information, TrustCheck can confirm that the message in circulation is false and intended to mislead. Now to our segment of Need to Know, we'll take a look at some electoral offences and their fines. A free and fair election involves political freedoms and fair processes leading up to the votes, a fair count of eligible voters who cast a ballot, and acceptance of election results by all parties. Also, for an election to be tagged free and fair, there must be uniformity of intentions among the electorate, candidates, government and security officials. Every community, state and country are regulated by certain laws and orders, and the Electoral Commission is no exception as it has electoral offences that are punishable by law. However, TrustCheck highlighted some notable electoral offences to help guide eligible and willing voters in Nigeria. Let's take a look at the fine for voting by unregistered persons. Every person qualified to vote is required to register with the Independent National Electoral Commission and get a permanent voters card, PVC, in order to be able to vote. The Act states that if a person violates this law by voting without registering, a maximum punishment of 100,000 naira or a sentence to jail for 6 months or both will be imposed on any person found guilty of intentionally attempting to vote in a constituency where their name is not registered on the voter list. Then there's secrecy in voting. Secrecy in voting here means that every voter's choice must be protected at polling units, especially in rural areas where they may not clearly understand what secrecy means. Here, the Act states that every person present at a polling unit or coalition center, including election officers, their assistants, agents, and every candidate, should uphold a voter's confidentiality. Party agents are fond of paying voters to cast votes for their preferred candidates and ask that they display the votes to ascertain they voted for the candidate they were paid to vote for. However, the penalty is a fine of 100,000 naira or imprisonment for 6 months or both. Moving forward, there's bribery and conspiracy, also known as vote buying. Vote buying is a common norm in Nigeria. This happens when a voter accepts money, contract, or public office, among others, during or after election in exchange for voting for a said political party or abstaining from voting altogether. The electoral law states that anyone found wanting will pay a fine of 500,000 naira or 12 months imprisonment or both. Disorderliness at polling units is also an offense. Disorderliness comes in different forms, including arguments, struggles in the queue, or possession of weapons. The punishment for this offense under the Electoral Act is that offenders will be fined 500,000 naira or a period of 12 months in jail or both. Wrongful voting or false statement. This means when a person votes illegally or publishes any statement about a candidate's withdrawal or his personal character. This offense under the Act attracts a maximum fine of 100,000 naira or imprisonment for the term of 6 months or both. Threatening people is a very serious offense under the Act. A direct or indirect threat of a person with violence or injury to compel them to vote or refrain from voting, or preventing any political aspirant from free use of the media vehicles, mobilization of political support and campaign at an election attracts a fine of 1 million naira or spend 3 years in prison. Also, undue influence involves giving or accepting money or any other inducement before or during an election in order to refrain from voting on election day. The Act notes that offenders will be fined 100,000 naira or 6 months imprisonment or both. Snatching or destruction of electoral materials or devices is an offense under the Electoral Act, and offenders shall be imprisoned for 24 months. Other offenses include impersonating a registration official, which attracts 1 million naira or 12 months imprisonment or both. Unlawful possession of a ballot paper, illegal printing of ballot papers, or illegal production or importation of ballot boxes all attract a fine of 50 million naira or imprisonment of not less than 10 years or both. You can visit the INEC official website to learn more about electoral offenses and their penalties. While we bring you weekly reports on false information circulating on and off social media, a simple way to stop the spread of fake news is to verify any information before sharing them. Always remember that fake news causes damage with irreversible effects. For more details on the fact check, visit www.trustcheck.dailytrust.com and follow us on all our social media platforms at Trust TV News. Until I come your way next week, I am Hajara Hussaini.